All right, everyone. So I have my friend Sheena Baker here with me, and we thought what we would do is just come and talk to you about how Sheena is successful, why she's successful, and we're just going to have really a basic conversation on what it's like to be Sheena today. Maybe we'll go back in time a little bit, Sheena. Let me
Okay.
go. Let me find my questions. There they are. All right. So, again, for those of you that don't know me, I am Carrie Little. I'm a real estate agent in Illinois. I pretend to be in Florida and Mexico. And I say that with, all in fun because I'm not quite sure what I'm doing down in Florida yet. Mark has figured out Mexico, kind of. This is my really, really good friend, Sheena Baker. I could let her introduce herself, but I'll make it easy. Sheena is a top producer. I feel like it happened overnight. She'll tell you that it didn't happen overnight. She is the life of the party. She makes you feel like if you didn't make it to the event, that you missed out. Sheena is the person that shows up for everyone. Anything else you want to share about yourself, Sheena? Or wait a minute. I went to a women's council event downtown Chicago and they were like, Carrie, do you know Sheena from Instagram? And what Sheena did from Aurora, Illinois, if you don't know how far that is, it is about an hour on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock at night. During the day at like maybe 8 a.m., it could be 2 hours. Sheena got in her car and came down to meet Women's Council because she shows up.
Yeah, they were looking for me. So, no, I don't really have anything else. If you know me, you know I'm more humble. I do show up for everybody. I do love people. I think that's probably what works well because I'm a lover of people. Real estate is just what I do. But I love to host events. I love if I can show up. I can't be everywhere at the same time, but I really, really try my best to show up, especially for people that I love, people that show up for me, my clients. Like if they invite me to things and they want to become friends and it's a birthday party or a baby shower, if I can show up, I just really do try to be present. And business happens to come from that.
It just happens to come from that. I mean, you make it sound like easy. And in the landscape of the real estate space today, and I was actually having a conversation with one of your good friends earlier today, and she was saying, Nikki was saying that a lot of agents are out here, and it's not easy. It's hard to do business when inventory is low, at least in Northern Illinois, because I know inventory is sitting a little bit in some other markets. Yes, someone said they caught you on House Hunters. I should
Oh,
go find that before we end and share that with everyone. Yes, and we could talk about that event maybe a little bit in a minute.
okay.
So in the landscape of real estate, let's just go back a little bit. You and I met because of Women's Council and because the event happened to be, and you show up, you were finding things to attend. If I were to ask you the question, when I think about how you grew up, even though I didn't know you, what was it like growing up? Because I think that ties into why it's easy for you to have events.
So I grew up in a party. So my dad, and still to this day, he slowed down a little bit because he's in his 70s, but he always hosted. So we would have family over. It would be basement parties that like we were too young, so we couldn't go down in the basement. But all we remember is the music, and we had one bathroom, three-bedroom home, and like all the people would come upstairs, and me and my brother would sit in the kitchen and like be nosy and watch like all the people come upstairs and then go back downstairs. And it just seemed like they were having so much fun. In the summer times, we would have barbecues. So many people would be over. My dad would invite neighbors. Like everybody was his friend. So that's how I grew up, seeing all these different people and being around, I guess, my dad who loved to host. And so I like to say I grew up in a party, although we couldn't attend the parties, but we kind of watched. And I probably learned like not knowing, I learned to befriend so many people and like, oh yeah, you could come because I remember when I started having parties at a young age, everybody was invited. I'm like, oh, you could come to my party, you could come to my party. So I think that's part of how, all of this started.
So, and you make it feel easy. I'm getting my life together because I'm the person, and I'll tell all of you, I'm the person that could go home and go to bed for real. But I remember, when Sheena shows up, she was like, Carrie, you need to stay after the event. And I was like, I do. So when you get around people that know how to show up for everyone, they motivate you to do better. And Sheena, I have to say, my birthday party was great.
Yeah, it was so, yeah, this was the biggest party Carrie has had to date. Her birthday, if you guys saw it, like what, 2 weeks ago? It was so much fun, and she never wants to celebrate herself. I celebrate every single birthday, even if it's not, well, it's usually always big, but even if it's not planned to be big, it's just a house party. It's fine just to invite friends over. I feel like people don't really get to know you in our like hustle and bustle. We go in and we might see each other. Even if I'm at an event and I sit there, listen to what's being said, and then it's over and I dart out the door, you won't get to know me. And referral business happens that way too. So if I meet agents and we get to talking or we exchange information, and later on, it could be a couple years later that they will send me a referral, possibly from us just interacting, or we just become great friends and we can bounce ideas off of each other. It doesn't always have to be that I'm going to get a deal from the relationship. I'm never even thinking about that. So if it might just be something they wanted to ask me, I'll hang around to answer questions, or I might want to hang around so I can learn a little bit. So it goes both ways. But yeah,
But
Carrie
see,
used to start out the door, and I'm like, okay, I didn't feel like I knew her, and I'm like, she would just leave, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess you don't want to talk to nobody. So I don't know where we were at one day, and I just said it. I was like, well, I don't know. You always run out as soon as the events are over. I feel like I don't know you, and she was like, oh, okay, and she's like, I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna stay a little longer after the events, and then that's when I think we started to become even closer friends.
and I'll say, a lot of it could have just been I was trying to get home with kids. All of those things come into play. But I'll tell you, one big key thing you said for those of you that are like writing like crazy is you got to get to know people. And when you get to know people, the referral business is easier. And I will tell you, because I'm in the process of running for treasurer for our local association. And so I put out the offer that if anyone wanted to meet with me, I would meet with them. So and I felt like, ooh, this feels hard. I don't have any kids at home. I probably have more time than most now. And I actually met with a few people, and it does make sense when you can just sit and talk to someone. For me, it's in the morning over coffee. For Sheena, for those of you that don't know, it is not in the morning over coffee.
No.
Right. We're shutting the restaurant down with you. And it made life so much easier just being able to get to know someone. So there's there's the I have to say thank you for, encouraging all of us to get to know each other. So let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Um, we know that if someone wants to meet with you or chat with you, it's better to catch you at night because you literally, people think that when we see Sheena Baker, we see fun, we see you're out, you're networking, you meet people, you're someone that gets to know people at different levels because you go out and you'll hang out until the restaurant's shut down. How do you turn that casual cocktail or maybe late afternoon or early dinner into a business opportunity without it feeling like a sales pitch?
Probably because I don't even look at it as a business opportunity at all. And I say that because I feel like it gets weird if you turn it into like, so do you know anyone that's looking to buy or sell real estate? I just feel I feel like it's in people. If you know what I do for a living, if you get to know me and you like me, you will refer someone to me if you think I do good business. So if we're talking about, I think casual conversation might be like, how was your day today? And you might be having a drink or having dinner if you don't drink, or coffee or whatever. And you could just talk about your day. Like it would be anyone else if they were a doctor, if they were worked at a restaurant and they're telling you about like what they did today. You're getting to know what a person does for a living. So I think about it that way. So if someone asks you like, oh man, I had, today was a busy day. It was pretty good though. I got two buyers under contract, and one of my sellers, they accepted the offer, but it was good. How was your day? So like just normal conversation about my career. We're just talking as friends. I think so. If you don't be shy to say what you do all day. I think everybody thinks we just open up doors and it goes under contract. It doesn't. So I've educated more people on like what realtors actually do during the day just by them asking me, like, what is your day like? Like, they don't want to be in real estate, but just curious because everyone is, for some reason, they like HGTV. They're curious about, things that happen behind the scenes with real estate. So I think it's just a natural conversation, but because you're talking about what you do all day, which is your business, that like, key goes off in their head, like, okay, well, next time I just met with Sheena. She's a realtor. My friend said that they want to sell their house. Let me give them Sheena's info. So I think of it that way, that they'll think about me when I'm gone.
Because you've already had a conversation with them. You've told them kind of how your day went. You didn't tell them, do you want to buy or sell a house? You just basically said, it was a rough day. Maybe I cried because, there's a seller that basically cursed me out.
Yep. And that happens too. Like you might just need to vent. Like I know you don't do real estate, but I just need to talk to somebody. And it's just that part is natural and that part is what makes a person get to know who you are as a person outside of I'm a realtor plus whatever else I could be talking about my dog or my parents. Like I'm not just talking about real estate. That's a part of my day. But what else is about when got my hair done? I got, like just talk normal.
People don't, and we don't do that anymore. Sometimes because we're so hungry or we need the business, we feel like we have to just go in for the kill. So let me jump back a second. For those of you that really don't know Sheena, so think about when you came back to, I'll say came back to the business because you were in corporate. How old were you when you bought your first house?
I was 19.
19. And you got into real estate because
Because I bought said house at 19, everybody started to ask me, like, well, why would you buy a house so young? Or can you recommend the realtor that you use? And I would start to give her information out. And I'm like, well, why do I keep doing that? I'll just sell the houses myself. And so it's like few friends of mine, people at church, my family. I have a big family. And so it was just educating people that had never owned property, why I bought so young and like the process and how it went. And so then I got my license probably 5 or 6 years later. And then that's kind of how I started part-time. I was in corporate America, human resources, payroll management. And then at the end of 2013, so I got licensed in 2006, 2013, the end of that year, I left corporate America after 15 years and went full-time into real estate 2014.
and I'm conservative when it comes to talking about money because sometimes I'm always afraid that somebody will think of me differently. But I do want to say, when you decided to go full time, what was that first year like with income?
Girl, no money. So I mean, I guess it was some money, but compared to what I was making in corporate America, so I made like $40,000 in gross commission that first year full time. And so I had a whole consulting job on the side where I could do consulting work at night whenever I got home from because I was at everything that year. I did open houses all weekend. I did every networking event, every class. So during the day, I had no time but besides real estate. And then I still did this consulting work at nighttime. Like I could just do it watching TV to supplement the remaining income. The second year full time, it tripled to $120,000 because of all the activities I had done the whole year. And I kept telling everybody that would call me with HR questions or call me about a payroll job or something like that. I would just say, no, I don't do that. I do real estate now. I do real estate now. Even to the point where my coworkers would be contacting me to buy their homes because they knew, like, I'm not coming back to corporate America. This is what I do. And I remain strong in that. I posted on Facebook every event that I was at. If I was at a class, if I was hosting an open house, they weren't even my listings. I was asking everybody in the office, do you have an open house that I could sit? Do you need me to show clients for you if you're going out of town? I don't charge. I don't need any money from you. I just want the practice. And so I was really busy in the business so I could learn the business. And so I believe that's why the next year it tripled. And then from there on, it's been like wildfires ever since.
And you even say that all of the people that you work with before, you're still friends.
Work. Oh, and yeah, I am. My coworkers. Yeah, I mean, I always thought like if you leave a job, you never know if you need to come back. And that's even if I stayed in corporate America because I had left companies like, you know what, y'all not paying enough, or I don't feel like this setup is right for me, and I'll go to another company, but I still want to be y'all friend. And then if it don't go well at that company, they'll be like, Sheena, we miss you, please come back. So I never left with a bad taste in my supervisor or my colleagues. So we always, even still to this day, we get together at different companies that I've worked for, and I'm their realtor. So, and they won't use anyone else but me. So I think that, but they got to know me. Like if we work together for years, you know who I am as a person. You know that I'm going to work very hard. You know that I'm serious about anything that I do, if I'm your coworker or not. So they trusted me, although this was a different profession. They still will use me now, and their family and their moms. And so, people want to trust the realtor that they work with. And if they send you a referral, they want to make sure you're going to take care of them. So it has fared well for me. And so I saw someone say, never burn a bridge. Yeah, never burn a bridge. You never know who's gonna know you, who you're gonna need, like at any point.
And what's interesting about that is I remember I worked for this company over in Wooddale. No, not Wooddale, in Addison. And someone that was kind of was my boss. I left the job, went somewhere else, but he got into real estate. And then I became the person that he needed to refer to. So you never know, right? Yeah, never burn the bridge. So, and what's interesting, Sheena, is you have your relationships, you still go out with these people, you have friends everywhere to the point where I know people pull you and they're like, well, I want to go, or, invite me.
Yeah,
I
yep.
mean, I feel like it's a good problem to have.
I mean, sometimes it's stressful because it's like, oh, I didn't get invited to this thing or that. And I'm like, it wasn't my event. You saw me on social media, but I just showed up. So, like, yeah, it gets, stressful in that sometime. And it gets stressful when you're trying to decide, like this weekend, I missed two events because I just couldn't make them. But all of them were important to me, but I just could not make everything. So I sent gifts to those I couldn't make, and I made it to what I could make.
And for those of you that are like, okay, she makes it sound so easy, I want all of you to know, if you could even talk to Sheena's team, like Sheena is rigid when it comes to processes. Like she has a standard of practice for everything. There's a system for everything. Nothing gets missed. And if it got missed, you're trying to figure out what happened. Like when it comes to real estate, even her clients know this is not just for fun. This is not part time or some of the time. This is a career. I can't even say it's a job because you're the rainmaker.
Yeah, I feel like this is my corporation. I feel like this is if I own McDonald's. This is the Sheena Baker Group that's powered by, Keller Williams, who I'm with. But this is my business. So like I have to run it like a business. So and otherwise I wouldn't have time to do all these things that I do enjoy doing, which is networking and socializing. I'm a social person. I couldn't do as much when I'm running, running, running everywhere. So now I have to put or my phone is blowing up. Like I have to have a process. So they have to work with my team on certain things. We are off on Sundays unless my team wants to do an open house on a Sunday or if they want to show somebody. But everybody knows that about me. If you come and work with us, we're off on Sundays. When office is closed for the night, if we're not out showing homes, we're off. We're going to respond back to you the next morning. Like those are things that I had to put in place as far as boundaries. So then if one of my clients or friends, they do want to go hang out and have dinner for their birthday, I can actually pay attention. Like I'm not sitting there on the phone like, hold on, I gotta answer this question. Nobody's expecting me to. They're gonna expect me to answer tomorrow. I can actually be present. But it
But
wasn't
Sheena
always
will.
like that.
Right. I'll say if you ever get to see Sheena during the day, like for real, I need a whole computer. I got my iPad up because I was on a class today. I got everything out because I need real tech. Like Sheena could do all her business on her phone.
Yeah,
But
my
but
phone.
when 6 o'clock hits, you are really like different. Like you could be in the pool working, but after six,
Phone down. I want to have some fun. Like, yeah, but during the day, yeah, I'm in my phone. My phone is just. I think it's because of so many years of being in the car on the road. I work fast on my phone. I had to. I didn't have a team back then. Now I have a team. It's different. But I learned how to do everything quickly from my phone. So it's easier for me. I could have my laptop right here, but I'm gonna go to my phone. It's just, I don't know, it's just a, crutch right now to me. But yeah, during the day, I'm all work. And then at nighttime is what I want to do for myself, even if it's nothing.
so I know how you're authentic. You've been doing this forever, and and I've watched. She even shares all her friends with us. I'm gonna make it fun. because Sheena's best friend, and I don't, you might have a lot of best friends, but Sheena's best friend is my mammographer. Is that how you say that?
Hmm.
Like
Yep.
I
So
get,
we,
we'll
we
make
do.
it fun and interesting. Like Sheena's
Yeah.
friends become your friends. Like so, we have Adele, who's the line dance queen. Um, we get invited to the to Easter dinner. Although well, I don't know what you have for Easter this year, Sheena.
I did it this year, my mom. So that's why you didn't, because usually it was really small because my mom
Well,
had
I had lamb
yeah.
and Peter and
I,
Jill, so
yeah, I know
I
you had
found
an
a spot.
invite. Yeah. So we invite Carrie and Mark. My mom is always and my stepdad are always like, where are Carrie and Mark? Do they have plans? Like, so we invite her Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, it don't matter. Halloween. Like we like to see Carrie and Mark. So yeah, we invite everybody to everything in our family. If you don't have a place to go for a holiday, I just think it's just something about if I know that, I want to make sure you know you can come to my house. I think it's a lonely time for people if you don't have family. So I always like people to know they could come over.
So before we do some Q&A, let me ask you a few more questions. So, what advice would you give to agents who don't feel naturally social or don't know how to host events?
If you don't feel naturally social, I would say go with a friend, because that helps. So, or ask a friend like, hey, have you heard about this event? Do you want to go with me? Sometimes going with someone else helps you not feel as anxious when you get there. Um, I would get, or if you don't have anyone that you know, go early. And that way, if you're in the room earlier, I've had people like that that'll come to events that I've hosted, especially Women's Council, and they'll offer, like, hey, is it something I can help you with? And I'm like, oh, hey, who are you? Like, sure, we're setting up, like, you want to do this? And then they feel like they actually are connecting with people because they at least got there a little bit early. And you're not the person coming into a room with 50 people there. You got there first, if that makes sense. So people will more likely come up to you and introduce themselves. So that's probably a tip that I would give. But meeting a friend there is probably the best.
Yeah, I see Patty saying not skilled with small talk. You know, go ask questions. Just ask questions because there's someone like me that's willing to just talk your ears off.
Yes, there is. So yeah, you'll meet somebody that just wants to talk. Like you'll just say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Patty." She's like, "Is this your first time attending this type of event?" Like these are just basic things you could say, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been here before." Really? Do you always come? How do you like coming? That's easy. They'll start to tell you like, "No, I've never been here before," or "No, I haven't either," or "Yeah, I've been here before." They're always great. Then where do you work? What office are you at? Like it's not small talk, it's real. So I think that's the thing. I never think of it as small talk. Whatever question I ask you, I'm interested to know. So like
Say that
don't
again because I don't think people realize that for real, Sheena really does want to know. Like, I'm like, I don't know how you do this so well. Like, I
yeah.
have my preconceived notions about people already, but Sheena, you like everybody. So say that again.
If I ask you something, I want to know the answer. So I won't come up with a small talk. Like you don't have to say, I'd rather not say nothing. Like say if if I'm in a zone or something's probably going on if I'm quiet. Because I'm not gonna just ask you stuff like just because. So if you want to know where they do business at, you want to know, do they have any kids? Like, do you want to know like whatever it is, just ask something you would be like, I'm interested in knowing this.
So when you think about your events over time, especially with real estate, how would you help somebody that's new doing this? Because I know you helped me.
Doing what events?
Just you didn't even help me do it, like, but getting over the fear of it being perfect, or like how would you help someone start hosting an event? What would you say?
I would say like stop thinking it has to be perfect. So, and if it's a client event, it could be small. It could be 5 people. You could figure out like, hey, these are my 5 past clients that I love working with. I would like to take you guys out to dinner. It could be, or I want to invite you over for dinner. And whatever it is, or the movie date. Like think of something that you think is not hard. to do. It's because none of it is hard. You can go to the movies together and meet up. You can go have a happy hour somewhere that they have happy hour from 4 to 6:30. It's only 2 hours, no pressure. You bought food, you didn't have to clean up. Everybody came meet, hang out, talk as some high boys, and got to know each other. A lot of times, my clients become friends with each other because I just put them together. So so don't think of it has to be like this grand event to start. Like when I first started having the annual barbecues, they were at my at then townhome, which was probably like 1,200 or less square feet, and I would have an annual barbecue for my like closest clients, and we would squeeze up in my house and in the backyard, and it was fun. And it started maybe with like, and then my friends and family. So it may have started with like 30, 40 people, and now it's like 200 people. But it
And now it's
started,
catered. I don't when we because you would even
my
there's
dad
a
used to cook. Or
there's some there's an right. So what's interesting is Sheena, there was always an exclusive group of us, realtors, that get to come to your client parties. If you want to know why not everybody gets to come see us in person and pull her to the side.
yeah,
But there's a few of us that always still get invited to Sheena's client parties. I guess I could easily say that we're safe. We're
yeah,
safe. So, but you started at your house. We'd all come, and then late you'd have a DJ.
yeah.
Not maybe not even in the beginning.
Yeah, I didn't have a DJ at the beginning. I was the DJ. But it grew to like having a DJ. It grew to having a bartender because I used to make 3 big batches of alcohol, like whatever it was. One could be like lemon drops, one could be margaritas, whatever. So nobody had to ask me all day. It would just be here's the 3 things and then other stuff at the bar if they want to make their own. But that took the pressure off of me. So I did that. Then I would have figure out the food and then music and then the atmosphere is everybody else just being around each other. Conversations happen naturally. I'm not having to do anything out of the ordinary to make a party a party. It's food, alcohol, music. Those are your three basic
And
things.
and you would say if there's something you want to drink, I might not have it, so bring it.
Bring it. Yeah. So, yep. So that's how it started. And then it just, people would see it on social media and say that they weren't invited. And that's when I started to feel bad, but I couldn't invite everybody to my home, even though like the next home was a little bit bigger. I still didn't have enough space. So I ran out of space, and that's what took it outside of the house.
So, oh, I lost my questions. Let's see. And then because I see we're getting questions. Um because I really truly believe we need to do this in person. So, what is one thing an agent could do this week to start building their business through people and events? And it or just building their business even if it's just networking and meeting people. What's one thing they could do?
Gather the list of people that you want to have your first event with because it might not be all of your clients. And especially if you're nervous about it, I would just gather a list of those. If I were to put said happy hour together or whatever you do, and I'm not saying it has to revolve around alcohol, we're just talking about my story. um, but whatever it is that you want to do, come up with the list of the first group of people because I feel like once you do it with a small group, it'll start to feel easy, but you need to have a list of those that you would like to invite and think about that.
Your money's in your database, your money's in your list. Cuz and seriously, cuz we're invited to what's happening this week. I'm not going to tell you what day cuz you're going to try to figure out where it is. I know how realtors are.
Yeah, and I mean, think about like if you do have clientele, I would do it with your top people that refer you the most business because there are a certain amount of clients of ours that constantly send us referrals. So if I had to stop the big events right now and just did smaller events, I would do it around those people who have been constant repeat clients of mine and constant referral sources. So if you're not tracking where these clients are coming from, I would say go through your list and figure that out and tie a resource to every single client that you worked with. So you can know like, man, I have all these clients that I work with. These people have sent me the most clients. Those clients are should be a part of your VIP. or those referrals. Even if it's people that refer me, people who have never used me because they've been in their house for 30 years, but they keep sending people to me. I would still invite them as a VIP client because they refer me business. So I would go through and figure out that list so that you can start there before like thinking you have to make it grand.
So, what's maybe one of your most interesting or fun examples of a relationship or a deal that came from simply showing up?
Probably last year because Sundays I usually do nothing. Um, I probably got a bunch, but this one is like the most recent, and this was really just a neighbor, like where I'm sitting in my office right now. To the this side of me, it's my neighbor. When I moved here 2 years ago, I invited them to my housewarming because we knew some mutual people. So I invited them over. And when I have barbecues at my home, not client related, just gatherings, I'd invite them over. And they are super sweet. They look out for me. I've never had neighbors that kind of look out for me because I'm so much on the go. So they invited me last summer to their daughter's sweet 16. I think it was in May. And they were like, we don't have parties or anything, and you always have invited us. I know it's a sweet 16, but if you be willing, we want to make sure to come over on Sunday. So I was like, okay. And I'm usually home on Sunday. So I'll walk over and just hang out with them for a couple of hours. So I leave. Everybody was fun, met the family, it was a lot of teenagers. And then Monday, I get an email from the brother-in-law who was there super quiet. And he said, hey, I know this is odd. We just met on Sunday, but me and my wife are relocating to Texas and we need to sell our house and we need a realtor in Texas. Would you mind working with us? And I'm like, okay. And I didn't pass out my cards. I didn't talk about real estate, but clearly my neighbors told them what I did. And so that's kind of how that all happened. So the next week I visited the house, listed the house, and probably the next week after that, found them a realtor in Texas. My friend down there sold them a house there. So I got two, referral fee from that, then the sale here just by going over across the street and random. I had just shorts and a t-shirt on, sitting at the table eating sandwiches and chips. Like it was not fancy, it wasn't business, it was just showing up.
And I would say to everyone that's on this live, do you know your neighbors? Do you know your neighbors?
Yeah.
I know my neighbor because we get Indian food.
And I'm typically not that person because I'm like, I gotta like you to let you in my house. So some neighbors of mine just stare at me. They don't say anything. But this particular couple, the day I was moving in, they were like, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. This is me and my husband and our kids. If you ever need help with anything, snow, grass, like we're here. Like, so they made me feel welcome on the block when I came here. And so that's how I'm like, well, they invited to the barbecue. So that was just an easy example, but it's typically I don't do anything to get the business when I just go show up to people's things like a baby shower or barbecue or just going over to the house for girls' night. It's like I would say don't think of it that deep. You're just really going there to just be yourself.
Because there's so much more you could talk about. So this is what I thought I would do. And we probably need to do this again live with Carrie and Sheena more often. So for those of you that are on YouTube, thanks for watching. Come back. Make sure you jump over to